Welcome back to Ahead of the Curve. I'm your host, Dr. Megan Teed, and we have another special episode today. We're doing an interview with Kerry Green from Evergreen Therapy. Today's topic is going to be the importance of rest and recovery for scoliosis, especially during the holidays, because this is coming out during a holiday week. Thank you so much for joining us, Kerry. Welcome.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to have this talk.
So Kerry, you're a fellow scolio warrior. I'm really excited to have you on to hear your perspective on the therapy and mindset side of things. Can you tell us a little bit about your scoliosis story?
Yes, so I always feel like it's my own therapy session when I'm telling my story because there's no way to tell it without, feeling some of those old emotions. But basically, I was diagnosed in middle school. It interestingly wasn't even from one of those Scoli checks that we all have to get every year. It was actually me. I went going to my mom, just saying like my back hurts, and I had no idea what that meant at the time. So lo and behold, got diagnosed with Scoli and then started down the path, capital T, capital P, which anybody with Scoli knows exactly what I'm talking about. Got fitted for a brace, wore a brace, actually never wore it during the day, but I wore it at night for a couple of years, even though I was supposed to. Um, that was late middle school, early high school. I also have no memories of like where the brace went and why I stopped wearing it. I
Whoa,
just
so it like
remember
just disappeared?
totally. Well, that's when like things that are emotionally traumatic, sometimes our brain can completely just block out the memories, So I'll
Yeah.
remember things now and be like, whoa. So I went off to college, and I was basically sent off with the wait and see kind of thought process, but also I was told that eventually I would have to get surgery. So that was kind of like implanted in my mind early on. Was one of the first things I was ever told. It was like a matter of time until
Mhm.
you get it, not like if you're going to get it. So I was always very active in sports, cheerleading, things like that. So I would keep putting it off every year, just be like, no, not this year, not this year, until finally they were like, if you wait past a certain age, it's going to be so much worse for you
Mhm.
because they have to take the bone marrow like from somebody else instead of or out of your hip.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Mhm.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I did it in college, basically like out of fear of the timeline. Took
Mhm.
off a month of college, got the surgery completely unprepared, had
Wow.
no idea what that was going to be like.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible. Um, but yeah, so that was 2007. Fast forward to 2020 is when I really started my personal healing journey as far as like learning schooling exercises and changing my thoughts and not feeling like a victim anymore. So it took a long time, a
Mhm.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So were you not even having pain at the time that you had the surgery and you just were like, okay, I was told I need to get it. I just want to get it over with, or like is what happened there?
Yeah, I had so much pain.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
remember like it was sometimes like debilitating and I was so angry and so depressed. I think like people with Scully need to hear this, right? Like I was really depressed before my surgery. I like
Mhm.
didn't even want to live. I didn't want to get it done. I just felt like I had to.
Right.
So that was part of the process of me actually choosing to get into the mental health field. I
Okay.
wanted to help other people that were feeling I didn't know like Scully at the time, just thinking I want to help other people that are depressed like me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful because you are in their scenario, in their situation. You've been in their shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way with, what I do. I I am a scolio myself, and my clients can relate. I can relate to them very well just based off of being in their shoes with a lot of the situations, doctor's appointments, the
Yeah,
path.
the
As
path.
I really like that. I might use that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's yeah.
Mm.
Because everybody knows what you're talking about when you
Yeah,
say that.
everybody knows. Yeah.
Um, so
You don't know you know it until you know,
yeah.
which is crazy. Like it was I had to get older and learn a lot of things on my own to
Mhm.
realize that like I wasn't told everything, all given all the information that I could have been given, so that can be really hard too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure true. Yeah. So, you already kind of answered the question about, what led you to specialize in helping women overcome trauma and anxiety and other struggles. Is there anything that you want to add to that, or is that, pretty?
Yeah, I mean, I think my work with women, really what I started to see and become interested in is similar themes
Mhm,
in the things that make women very anxious. And so there's a lot of societal messages that impact women, right? Like what should we look like, and how should we behave, and how should we do this? And there's so many shoulds. And so and so for particularly with a woman with scoli, there's going to be a lot of anxiety and body image stuff because there already is. Right,
mhm,
like a lot of us suffer from that, and so then you add Scully to the mix, something that is happening to your body to make it quote unquote not perfect, right? It can
mhm.
cause a lot of anxiety for people, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And there's definitely a lot of like body dysmorphia things that I've seen kind of along those same lines where someone comes in and starts working with me, and they're wearing like a very baggy sweatshirt, and they're holding themselves kind of in like this meek posture, and they're talking very horribly about themselves.
Mhm.
And it's interesting, just based on the work that we do together, how that changes over time the more that they understand about their bodies, about their curve. They start wearing like cuter, not cuter, but like more fitted clothing,
Yeah.
and they come in in a cheerful demeanor. And I think probably a lot of the work that you do is similar to that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Even with myself, I never wanted to, like, I would never go for a run in a sports bra. And so when I finally did that, it was like last year or something, I was so proud of myself, like
Mhm.
that's a win. That's a win to leave the house and feel confident in your body, in your skin, and also not think that everybody is staring at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we tend to think that the whole world is like
Paying
staring at
attention
us and
to
thinking of us, and they're all just thinking about themselves. Yeah.
That's so true. So, during this busy holiday season, it can be really stressful for someone with scoliosis. So just like trying to sort out like travel plans, even like going to stores and buying gifts for people can be really stressful because you're having to stand in lines. And, you know, I mean, we do have Amazon, I know, but some people still go to the store and carry bags and all the things. What are some things that you see come up for people with scoliosis during the holidays that can be kind of difficult to navigate?
Yeah. I mean, I can say even what comes up with me, which is, thinking about the holidays. We're spending a lot of time in other people's homes, or maybe we're traveling and, it's physically uncomfortable, even just like getting somewhere, So imagine that you are going to a party in someone else's home. There might be things that you need to ask for to be comfortable. I mean, literally, physically comfortable, right? And so if we have anxiety about asking because we think that we're being annoying or we feel like a burden or we should just tough it out, like maybe we won't ask and then we're not physically comfortable. And then how hard is it to be present, right? Because all you're thinking about is that you're not comfortable. And then you might have more anxiety that you're not paying attention to people, you're checking out in conversation. So I see that as a vicious cycle. If you don't find a way to communicate your needs, I see that as something that could be really hard for people around the holidays.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Do you have some tips for people, like how to overcome that sort of thing?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely takes some practice to change the way that you're talking to yourself,
Mhm.
giving yourself compassion. And part of the work that I do is if we're mind reading, right? Like let's say I go to a party and I'm convinced that if I ask to sit on the couch or ask for a pillow, I I'm saying that I think that person is going to think that I'm annoying. Well, how do
Mhm.
you know that? Right? Like what are you basing that on? So we can kind of challenge our thoughts. Like, are we mind reading? If we are, then maybe we're worried for no reason.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, anticipating like the worst possible outcome.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Instead of like thinking, well, maybe this could turn out perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. But then another helpful thing is practicing
mm,
communicating and seeing that nothing bad is going to happen.
yeah.
People actually want to be supportive. So
Yeah.
it's just a little bit of practice.
Yeah. So you suggest like just practicing with like a friend or a family member or what do you yeah.
Yeah, anybody you have in your life that feels safe, right? So
Mhm.
that could be like a partner, it could be a friend, a sibling, a parent. Just practice. Ask for something small and see that it actually won't be a big deal to ask to sit on a chair,
Mhm.
right? Instead of sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
Just a
Exactly.
small example, right? Can you hold my bag? My
Yeah.
back hurts. Can you hold my bag?
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really simple things that can make a big difference in your life and just even like going and participating in parties. I know that probably a lot of people just choose not to go because they think of all the things you're talking about and they're so overwhelmed. They're like, forget it. I'm just
Mhm.
going to stay home. And then they miss out on, spending time with people they love. And yeah. So I think the work you do is really important, and this is just huge. So, why do you think it's important for someone with scoliosis to rest and recover? Why is that just as important as it is for them to be doing their exercises, doing some walking and things like that?
Mhm. This is a big one. Rest is healing, right? So your body cannot heal, not just your body, your brain too, right? Like we need rest to be able to get stronger. And something that I work a lot with is this perfectionist mentality. So I imagine that a lot of people with scoli probably have that. Like I need to be on every day, take care of my body perfectly every day in order for me to make sure that my curve doesn't get worse.
Hmm.
Right. So if you have a hard time relaxing, that might mean that there's something there,
Hmm.
right? Like, what is it that's making it hard for you to relax?
Hmm. Yeah. I do think that that shows up a lot. What are some tips to kind of change that mindset a little bit so that
Yeah.
it doesn't perpetuate?
Well, just noticing it is the
Mhm,
first step. Right? Like, am I striving to, you know, do things perfectly, quote unquote, perfectly, because that doesn't exist? So again, just acknowledging to yourself that that's not realistic and we need to be realistic and we need to be nice to ourselves.
Mhm.
Like we deserve a day of rest, just
Mhm.
like anybody else.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Um, I think one of the things I've heard before is like, would you talk to like a friend or a relative the way that you're talking to yourself? Would you
Yeah,
expect the things from them that you
yeah,
expect of yourself? And
totally. Would you tell a friend, like, get off the couch?
right?
Get off the
You're
so
so dang
weird.
lazy. All you do is lay around.
Yeah, you would never do that. So that's a good tool to kind of get out of that mindset.
Yeah. Uh, do you have any ideas of how someone can learn to rest and recover during this time of year, or like how to like kind of hit that pause button uh,
Mhm.
instead of just continuing to push through?
Yeah. I teach a lot of mindfulness, which is something that we should use all year, not just during the holidays, but it can be really helpful during the holidays to not do like all or nothing. We think of the holidays of sometimes extremes, like I'm just going to be, eat all the things and not work out for X amount of time. So we want to be careful with all or nothings. We want to use mindfulness every day. And what that is a constant check in with yourself. Like, how am I feeling physically? How am I feeling emotionally? How much energy do I have? Is there anything that I need? What would I like to, what can I handle right now? And so you can use that throughout the holidays. Like maybe today I just want to eat all the things and lay around. And then maybe tomorrow I want to go on a walk,
Mhm.
so just checking in with yourself nonstop because the way we feel is always changing
Yeah.
throughout the day, every day. So I think
Yeah.
that just like staying present in yourself is
Mhm.
really helpful.
For someone that's just kind of getting used to that because they've kind of ignored that voice for so long, do you have like maybe like a trigger that they could use to help them, even do that check-in to begin with?
Yeah. I would say actually write it down. Like
Mhm.
write down, how am I feeling right now physically? How am I feeling right now emotionally? Why am I feeling it? Is there anything I need? And what can I handle? So if you write down that list, you don't have to think about it, right? You just like tell yourself, I'm going to go to the list a couple times a day.
Yeah.
Start practicing that.
Yeah, that's great. I
Yeah.
think that's important because to go from not doing that at all to
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
like, I need to be like very mindful of myself.
Right.
It's kind
Yeah.
of a whole, yeah, mind boggle. So
Yeah, it can be a lot in the beginning. Yeah. Like check in with myself. What?
yeah, like what does that even
What
mean?
does that mean? Yeah. Well, because we ignore our feelings a lot of the time. We just go, go, go. And that's why we're talking about this, right? So we
Mhm.
want to slow down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Are there, even just ways to healthfully like rest and recover? So, we think of rest, zoning out, laying on the couch, watching Netflix. Nothing wrong with that.
Right. Right.
Are there like other, ideas that you have for people that they could use as rest and recovery?
Totally. Like maybe rest could be working less hours one day so that you can go do some more physical, activities or do something for your body. Like rest for me as a therapist is not having 5 appointments in one day. Maybe I have one or none because I want to rest in a way that's taking care of my body. Like maybe I want to go on a really long walk or something like that and just not rest can be not thinking about all the things that you have to do every day.
Yeah, yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of like this is kind of stalkery of me, but I know that you have a Peloton.
Yeah.
And I want to hear a little bit about like how you made the transition from being very, painful, having your surgery and now leading like such an active lifestyle, because I think that can really be helpful for other people.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So, as uh, luckily, because I became a therapist, did a lot of work on teaching people how to change their thoughts, right? Like, what are the narratives that you have in your life that are holding you back? And as I was doing that, I started to really realize that there were narratives that I was holding on to that that I didn't come up with myself, right? So, doctors telling me that there's only so much you can do.
Mhm.
I was never told anything about exercises you can do for pain, or that there was like Pilates for scoliosis, or that even just physical therapy could help with pain. Like, I was never told any of that. And so I carried a narrative for a long time that this is just the way that it is. And
Mhm.
I just have to find a way to deal with it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and actually, Instagram was really helpful too, because I started to see these programs
Mhm.
popping up. And I have a friend that went to high school with me who also had scoliosis and got the surgery as well. And like, she started doing some things. And so I don't know, there just was like a shift that started to happen. And I realized, like, no, there's so many, like, I don't want to feel like this anymore, right? Like, I want to believe that there are things I can do for my pain, or even to improve my curve. Like, maybe that's not true.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe
Yeah.
maybe I've just been repeating it in my head for 25 years because somebody told me that it's not possible.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't teach other people that if you change your thoughts, your emotions and will change, and your behaviors will change, and your life will change, if I'm not doing that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, like kind of practicing what you're teaching all day
Yeah,
long to your client.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing I did was I joined Vivian Doreen's Scully Fit
Mhm.
program.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did, because I immediately, I started to get stronger and my pain was going down. And I was like, wow, this took a long time to get here, but here we are.
Yeah.
Turns out all that stuff wasn't true.
Hmm. Yeah. It's just, taking that first step to
That
try.
is the key. The first step was the hardest.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's a big hurdle after, like you said, you've been told this certain narrative for so long in your life. You don't even like explore the possibility that that might not be true. That might not be the case.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't find out unless you take a risk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been so awesome to talk with you today. I feel like I've learned a lot personally from you, and I know that the people that listen will as well. Can you share? Sorry.
Oh, your volume's gone. Ah. So
I'll have to edit that out. Um, so,
please leave the blank silence.
and UPS has arrived. So what does it look for someone? What does it look like for someone to work with you? Like, how would you go about doing that?
Yeah, so I do one-on-one therapy virtually in Florida and New York, where I'm licensed. So my website is evergreentherapy.online, and you could just contact me through there. Yeah, and to work with me, I guess I would just say that my style is a balance of helping people understand their brains better, like what's going on in there, what is causing your anxiety, or what is trauma, like what does it mean, what does it look like, we have to know what's just like scoli, like you have to understand what's going on inside of you, like
Mm,
that there's a reason, how things are working, as a first step. If you
yeah,
don't understand that, like, where are we going, right? So that's always the first step. Um, and oh,
go ahead.
oh, and yeah, so we'll work on lots of things, like in addition to the trauma and anxiety, if you have any of that, body image, self-critical thoughts, perfectionism, if you have any like catastrophic thinking or excessive worries or relationship problems, all the things. One thing that we didn't mention is that when it comes to, the body stuff, wanting to better care of your body, whether that's working out or whether that's rest or whatever, eating healthy, whatever it is, we will do a better job of that when we have a better relationship with our body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have to have a better relationship to it, meaning like we have to be nice to ourselves and we have to, so like when we are so hard on ourselves all the time
Mm-hmm.
and then we feel disappointed in ourselves because we can't like meet our own standards, and then that causes shame, which causes avoidance. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the vicious cycle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, working with me, we do a lot of work on like figuring out how to like our body and then how to love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a hard journey to and go through.
First, we learn not to hate it, and then we like it, and then we love it. It's a process. Yeah,
In dating your body, I like it.
yeah, you're dating it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, and then how can people find you? You mentioned your website.
Yeah, and then my Instagram and TikTok is Kerry, Kerry Green Official.
Okay, amazing. Well, it was so great to have you join us today, and hopefully we can have another conversation in the future. I feel like there's a lot that we can delve into a little bit deeper. So I think we just kind of got into like a little bit of the shallow
Oh,
end of things.
hopefully, people got some holiday.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Head of the Curve. We'll catch you next week.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. Great conversation.